All right, welcome back to GDC 2022. I am Jim Schultz. I'm the head of community at Incredibuild, and we are talking to some more very exciting people here at GDC in San Francisco. And Charly Harbord is with Women in Games, one of my favorite organizations. I know some of the people there. I'm actually part of the Discord there. And if you wouldn't mind, just take a moment to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, where you're from.
Okay, so I'm quite exotic. I'm from Scotland, so it's a long way from GDC. I work for Women in Games. I'm their applied games designer. I'm also their Twitch coordinator and also a collaborator. So any kind of conference you see from Women in Games, I'm in the background doing all kinds of stuff, really. I also work for Abertay University, which is in Dundee, Scotland. Abertay is actually the first university in the world ever to have a games design degree, which is pretty cool. And I work in the game school, which is even better. And I also run a cultural heritage game jam focused on Scots Gaelic called the Kilted Otter Initiative. So Women in Games is non-profit. You don't have to be a woman to be in Women in Games. That's the thing. You can be an ally. Well, exactly, right? Anyone can join. You can apply to be an ambassador. You just go online, www.wigj.com or .org, and then find ambassador. You'll be able to join. There's so many reasons that people join Women in Games. So it can be for careers and entrepreneurship. It can be for mentoring, networking, support, emotional support, everything about empowering women, female identifying people, anyone at all, and giving them that forum and that chance to be on a level playing field. It's not an easy fix, and it's not something that we can do overnight, but with Marie-Claire Eisman in the lead, she's getting us there. We run events so often. So we have careers expos, we have the big conference, we have award ceremonies, lots and lots of outreach. And so through the Women in Games Twitch, which I run, we're also supporting Ukraine. We did what was supposed to be a 12-hour charity stream, but we had too much content, so we had to extend it to 13 hours. We were supported by loads of amazing Polish game studios who gave us games to give away. They gave us Xboxes. They gave us an Xbox fridge. And they enjoyed the whole experience so much that we're actually now planning a 24-hour long Ukraine charity stream that will sort of regionally tag team around the world, which is super exciting. So this is the kind of outreach Women in Games can do.
That's awesome. And great organization, by the way, and thank you for being a part of it and all the effort that you put in. And I think it's so important to show young women, young girls, that they can be part of this industry, not just as a player, but as a creative as well, right?
No, absolutely. And one of the things that with Women in Games, when they have a position that's open and you apply for it, they don't always pick the person with the best skill set. They pick the person who has the best EQ, the best ability to fit with the team, or shows the most promise. Because if you're already at the top of your game, we can help. How much can we help? If you're up and coming, so I think one of the big philosophies of Women in Games is when you make it to that position where you've reached the pinnacle or you're at the top of the game, you reach back and you help others. It's not a competition. If one woman wins, we all win, and there's always enough out there for everyone. So it's not a competition.
So what if I'm, say, a company, or I am or an organization who's maybe looking for speakers, or I'm looking for employees? How can I partner with Women in Games to help bring better representation, more perspective into my organization?
Okay, so first and foremost, we're not a tick box organization, so we would never offer that service where, so you've said you've hired 10 token women, well done, there's a tick. That's not what we're about. But companies and businesses can come to us and be corporate ambassadors. You'd have to speak to Gemma Johnson-Brown, but again, on the website, you can quite clearly see where that is. And that offers a whole level of different abilities and support that we can give different businesses, but also businesses can outreach through us to find the right people for the jobs. And again, it's not always about the skills or the qualifications you have, because you can learn skills and qualifications,
right.
But the soft skills, and for women in particular, so networking, one of the things is if there's a job and you've got the essentials and the desirables, a woman generally won't apply for that because, I haven't got them all. Whereas a male would just boom, 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 fire off all those sort of applications. And it's about empowering women. So you know what? That person that has all of those skills doesn't exist. Or if they do exist, they're not looking for a job, So it's about providing that support and giving companies that are with us and ambassadors for us, we have a higher level of trust as females because they're doing something and they're supporting actively.
That's so interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. I have a friend, she works in recruiting, she recruits DevOps professionals. Mm-hmm. She told me a stat about a study that she read. I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but it was something like this, where a man will apply for a job where he only meets 20% of the qualifications, a woman only 80% or above.
I apply for all jobs.
I'll do anything.
I'll do anything. Gives a job, I can do it. Yep.
Yeah. So just changing that mindset, I think, is important.
100%.
Building confidence into women and men to put themselves out there, right?
No, definitely. And it gives you that confidence. So I applied for the Applied Games Designer job through the conference a couple of years ago. And I thought, I'm never going to get this because I don't necessarily have that track history. But I got the job. And then from there, you're like, okay, I can officially say I'm a game designer. That's pretty sweet.
That is awesome.
And that goes on your CV, and you go out looking for jobs, like proper jobs.
Yeah, if you're passionate, you can learn whatever it is.
You can learn Maya, you can learn Twine, you can learn whatever, but you've got to have that ability to believe in yourself, and the imposter syndrome is real. And for women in particular, I feel that we are really struggling with the imposter syndrome. GDC is a perfect place to have imposter syndrome because you walk into a room and you're like, oh my God, you're all my favorite people. Why am I here with you?
Right.
Yeah. And so you have to suck it up and just power through, because the secret, and this is like the top secret, everyone started from nothing. Yeah? There's not a CEO or lead of a studio that didn't at one point have no skills, So we all started from the same place. So.
Yeah, that's great. What other? I want to go back to, and thank you so much for sharing all that about women in games. By the way, do you ever use the WIG acronym? Do you say WIG or?
No, because it's some people say WIGJ, which I find problematic with my accent. WIGJ. We generally just say WIGJ or Women in Games. So the J, we never shorten it to WIG because that's another company, not as good as ours. But WIGJ, the J actually stands for jobs because it was originally a recruitment agency set up to empower women to get jobs. And that's just, once you've set up a company and you've got the name, it's really difficult to change.
Yeah. Well, thank you again so much for sharing all that with women about Women in Games. Very important group, and I'll share all the links to everything here.
Absolutely.
So people can get involved with the organization. I'd love to hear a little bit more about Kilted Otter.
Yes,
that was fascinating. We were talking about it before you came in, and trying to speculate, what it really was, and then I said, well, let's just ask her.
But now I want to know what you think it is.
So it sounded to me like you're creating digital games that would help preserve culture respectfully, right? So if I'm going to create a game that, just say for sake of argument, it was about American history, create a game about American history and try to preserve and give players the experience that they're actually living in that culture in that time.
That's exactly right. Yeah. No, if you said like you're putting kilts on otters, that would be completely different. No. So I've spent a lot of my life, I lived in China for 8 years, so Chinese is my second language. I lived in Italy, I work with a lot of different communities, and I realized I've done nothing for my own culture. Scots Gaelic is one of our languages, so we've got Scots Gaelic, Scots. Where I'm from in the northeast, we speak Doric, but Gaelic is in such an endangered situation that if something isn't done seriously within like 8 years, it will be gone, which is heartbreaking. And this isn't just in my culture, my country, this is all over the world. Because the knowledge holders, and particularly with oral traditions, when they pass, these stories pass. And when stories go, our culture goes. We're not a homogenous society. We should have pride in who we are, and we should be able to share that with people and learn from each other. So the Kilted Otter is a 2-month extended games jam, and it's research-based. So instead of a theme like Mother or Earth, we give research packs. And in the research pack, there's fairy stories, food, culture, language, and that's used as the inspiration to make a game. We also have interviews with native Gaelic speakers about why Gaelic is important and what kind of games they want created about Gaelic. And then we also, throughout the whole 2 months, every week, we release 2 lectures or talks on Gaelic or games design. So we really wanted it open to absolutely everyone. We had an absolute beginners sort of stream. And because of all of this, the really amazing fact is that over 50% of signups were from females.
Really?
Yes. And that is it's just mind-blowing. I think there's a couple of reasons here. So one, I drew the poster, and I purposely didn't do pixel art, and I purposely didn't put game controllers in it. Because when we see that, we have a tendency to think, oh, games, programming, male. The other factor is because it was over 2 months, it's accessible, right? 1 or 2 hours a week would give you the same amount of input as a whole weekend or a week. I don't have time to devote a whole week to making a game. I wish I did. But so it's those factors, I think, the way we marketed it and also the way we increased the accessibility.
That's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. And the reaction has been absolutely astounding. So I started it in my bedroom during lockdown, and then I get a call from the Scottish government, which, you know, what have I done now? You know, I was young and I needed the money, right? And so they called me and basically said, we've heard about what you're doing. Would you like some money? Yes, please. Yes, please. I'll take a bucket.
Money, please.
Money, please. And so other communities, so MG Alaba, who are our BBC, they supported us, and Bord na Gaelic, who are the Gaelic Promotion Government Board, they also donated to us, and they're going to support us again this year, which is astounding. And the model we've created for using digital games as a medium to preserve Indigenous languages and cultures, which is actually my PhD, and will be in a book real soon, when I write it, will be given to other communities around the world. Like, this is what we did, this is how we did it, these are the tools, this is the software that we used. Please take it. If we can help you, we'll help you. If you don't need our help, you don't need our help. Because knowledge should be shared, right?
Yeah, that is awesome. And I'll put links to all this too in the description of the video for everybody.
Well, that's it. The other factor is, if you want to join, if you're interested in Scots culture and Scots history, because it's very good, you don't have to be a Gaelic speaker, because Gaelic is very difficult. It's not based on English at all. So I should have introduced myself in Gaelic, really. You don't have to be in Scotland. There's no limitation to where you are, who you are. Anyone can join this. It's about sharing culture. And the reason that we have Indigenous speakers and first speakers of these languages is so that we know the knowledge that we're putting out is according to protocol, right? And this becomes more prescient when we're dealing with, sort of, say, for example, First Nations. Not all of that knowledge is to be shared. Absolutely not. And so when they're involved in the jam, they will be able to choose what they want to share and what makes sense to them. Same for our Maori participants as well.
Right. Can you say something in Gaelic?
Kimera Hashif.
And which is?
Hello, how are you? Oh no, hi, hello, Kimera Hashif.
Nice.
And Glivata Pali. My Gaelic is rusty, but doing the game jam, it's obviously improved a lot. So when we're signing emails and stuff, there's always a Gaelic sign off. There's always a hello in Gaelic. If we can put little bits of language in.
Yeah.
And so we had a Discord, or we still have the Discord for the game jam, and we have Gaelic only channels. And just seeing people being enthused and also having this really safe space where they can use these languages and share stories is wonderful.
That is awesome. Very, very cool. Well, I have one more question for you. This is a fun one.
Okay.
I want you to talk about one of your favorite gaming memories from your life. You can go as far back as you want, or you can go as recent as you want.
Okay, so I'm 45, so there's a lot of history there.
We'll bleep that part out. By the way.
I remember, because my dad worked for the oil companies, Conoco Oil in Scotland, he did the shifts, so he was 2 weeks away and 2 weeks home. And when he was home, he didn't have to work, so he just spent all his time with me. And he was a real nerd. Like, as soon as something came out, we had it. So we had ZX Spectrums, Amstrads, everything. And one of the things we used to play, which really stuck with me for the rest of my life, is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah,
which was a text-based game.
Sure.
It shouldn't have been interesting. And you had to get the instructions absolutely perfectly correct. Like that Babelfish scene. And that's something that I hark back to, because games doesn't have to be AAA. It doesn't have to be amazing 3D rendered imagery.
Right.
That's nice, but that's not everyone's wheelhouse. So that game meant a lot to me, and my dad has sadly passed. And so you do hark back to these kind of memories. And then last night, I ended up in the house for a private whiskey party with the guy who made that game.
Wow.
And that was just like fangirling, because it meant so much to me.
Yeah.
And astounding.
It's incredible. These are all made in computers, and you look at them through a screen, but they have a personal effect on everybody, right?
Yep. And I think part of what I'm doing with the cultural heritage is also, so we're working with a number of First Nations groups, different communities, and so they've helped me, and to offer help back, I'm doing some sort of game design courses, but also we're doing avatar creation, because the power of seeing yourself in media and seeing yourself in a positive way it's moving. Through the Twitch stream, one of our streamers was playing a game, and she saw someone who was representative of herself with her neurodivergency, and she actually just burst into tears because she had not seen herself portrayed in an honest and true light before. That's powerful.
Yeah.
And that's what we get to help influence. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charly. I was actually just like a week or two ago told my wife, what's one of the things I want to do? I want to go to Scotland, and I want to go do some Scotch tasting. I love Scotch.
Yeah.
And so when I go, I'm going to look you up, and we're going to go drink some Scotch.
Oh, absolutely. We've got it on camera now, so that's a promise, right?
Legal.
Legal, absolutely. And I would just say that anything anyone can do to raise awareness, support Ukrainian game studios, go ahead and do it. We will be doing a lot of promotion with Xbox Poland and the Polish Gaming Association, also Ukraine-Polish Gaming Association, so that we can create this charity stream. We'll be giving away more wonderful prizes and games. The point is, anyone can win these items. You don't have to donate a lot. If you can donate a lot of money, you can probably afford an Xbox, right?
Yeah.
But it's everyone has an equal chance. And even, all of us have different financial situations. Even if you can't donate, please join us anyway. It's awareness, and it's doing something positive. and shining a bit of light in what is an awful, awful time.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. We have developers at Incredibuild that are in Ukraine as well, so we're thinking about all of them every day too, and we're here having a good time and socializing and everything, and yeah, we need to remember that there are people that are having some real struggles right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Women in Games fully supports and does as much as we can. There's no quick answers, and even when the war is over, there's a lot of rebuilding. So let's all just try and do our best and be aware and spread the message. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks again for bringing that up.
No problem.
Great to meet you, Charlie.
Nice to meet you too.
Have a great rest of the week.
You too. Thank you.
All right.